Sorry about that. Pika, you gotta give me a heads up. We're back, and it's time once again for the 31 days of Halloween. Welcome. It is the 15th day of Halloween. Oof. Yes, I gotta work on those lyrics, I think. Yeah. What do you think? Leave me a comment. But smash that like button, please. Today, it's the 31 days of Halloween. We are doing a different horror movie every day in October leading up to Halloween night. One of my all-time favorites. And starring our, it's a spoiler or a hint or a clue. It stars our star here, Christopher Lee, who's returning from the dead as Dracula. This is Taste the Blood of Dracula, a 1970 Hammer horror movie. This is the third in our Hammer horror series of the Christopher Lee Dracula movies. These are, once again, just want to say, they're titillating. They're like kind of like, we used to call that TNA, which meant for boobs and heinies. You know, I don't want to, trigger anyone's triggers, or maybe I do. Maybe I do. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to get to it. Oh, here, hit the button. Play that trailer. Roll that beautiful bean footage. So this movie is weird. I love the perpetuation of the sequels. And you just need a simple, little, maybe even stupid conceit to perpetuate the story. Such as this guy gets thrown off of his buggy. You know what I mean? He's ganged up on and thrown out of this buggy, and he's beaten up, and he's hurt, and he is hobbling away, trying to find some safety. And on his way to a town somewhere, he sees the climactic battle between Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee from the last movie. He witnesses Van Helsing staking Dracula, and then Dracula turning to ash and molten blood, and his ring is left. The Dracula ring is now an important setup to a payoff. Now, you got to keep track of the Dracula ring. This is not Mystery Box. It is just pretty straightforward. So this guy goes over to where Dracula fell and, scooped up the ashes mixed with the blood of Dracula in the signet ring. And so, now years later, if you mix blood with these ashes, Dracula is going to, poof, reappear. And he doesn't turn into a bat very much, I believe. He doesn't do a lot of transmutation. Like, so in the original Bram Stoker and in those original 5 books, the 5 movies that we covered already, Nosferatu, Bela Lugosi's 31, Jack Palance's 74, also Coppola's 92, and the 5th one here being Horror of Dracula from 1958, this horror of Hammer horror. Those had more bats, more wolves, more rats, and even mist as well, because these are all through things Dracula could transform into, such as when he's making the crossing. There's the sea passage, which is a famous part of the book and the first couple of movies, is when Dracula is coming over on a ship, and they find it washes up in Whitby, where it's supposed to be. And I like to play the movie here on 10 times speed, and we don't have to worry about any nudity in this. It's starting off, this is guy, he's just, and I'm pretty sure he plays the Baron Harkonnen, and no, he doesn't play Baron Harkonnen, he plays someone else. I was getting confused. This actor has been I've seen this actor in a lot of things. So yeah, this is the cheesy way how this starts. Yeah, look at that. It looks like ragu. This is like a tomato sauce commercial. Taste the blood of Dracula. Yeah, and It's a 1970 movie, and I love the production values. I love the stock of film it's shot on. I like the lighting. I like the costumes. I love these British actresses, these ingenues, these pretty gals. Yeah, and this is before nudity became commonplace in the movies. Now later on, like a couple more movies from now, in Satanic Rites, it was the first time we see topless in one of these Hammer movies, and I'm gonna look into that. That's a good story, and we got a couple more movies to go until then. But yeah, Taste the Blood of Dracula. This does not star Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing returns as Van Helsing in the next movie, Dracula AD 1972. How? Was there time travel involved? Does he meet H.G. Wells? No, it's his grandson or his great grandson, a namesake, Lawrence or Larry Van Helsing. and he's the same as his grandfather. He has all these books on mysticism and the occult and everything. And but it's a nice way to bring back Van Helsing, and also like two police characters as well that help him out. So that you have these three investigators and heroes going along in the next two movies actually. So by Satanic Rites, we still have the same kind of form. We have Van Helsing, Van Helsing's granddaughter, played by two different people, and the two cops. And that's meant to emulate, the pack of heroes that we got all the way back in the original. Because there's victims everywhere, and it's a horror movie. I mean, maybe we should talk about victimization and horror movies. Maybe we should should ban horror movies because people get victimized. No, that's the whole draw of it. The whole morbid fascination and the whole. That's our deal with the macabre. I mean, the word exists for a reason. Let's look it up real quick. I love words. What does macabre mean? Macabre. Macabre. It's an adjective. Disturbing and horrifying because of involvement with or depiction of death and injury. In works of art, the adjective macabre means having the quality of having a grim or ghastly atmosphere. The macabre works to emphasize the details and symbols of death. The term also refers to works particularly gruesome in nature. And just because, see, here we go. And he's gonna mix the ashes of Dracula with his blood as a sacrifice, and it looks like an Alka-Seltzer with red food dye. But these were just special effects. They were making movies on a budget. Hammer made many movies. They have sets. They had huge sets. They had a costume department. They had an art department. It was a movie studio. In the days of movie studios, in the heyday of cinema, was it high art? Hell no, but it was good. It sold. People liked it, and it fulfilled this need for these Dracula movies. People love horror movies. We know because we're tuning in right now. We're celebrating the 31 days of Halloween. We're doing it all together. So keep those comments coming. Keep those suggestions coming. I have a running list I'm making for next year already. Seriously. And this has been the 31 days of Halloween. This has been day 15. On the 15th day of Halloween, a vampire gave to me a scorching case of bites and VD. Oh, well, vampires are sexy in nature. I mean, this is movies all about. It's about titillation as well. As we have the ingenue, scantily clad, put into precarious situations where she can be taken by the vampire or saved by a hero or her own happenstance. I mean, I'm really enjoying these movies. I love the sets. I love the designs. I love the lighting. Look at this. This is great. I love the costumes. I love the hair and the simple relationships. There's a lot of, Joss Whedon himself said in the commentary track to The Cabin in the Woods that we watched last week, stories are basically set up and payoff. And this is just simple storytelling in 3 acts. This has a running time of 1 hour and 35 minutes. Those are 30-minute acts, and it's a very comfortable and reliable way to tell stories. I know that everyone's different these days, and there are new models being taken, binge watching, and this and that. Well, nothing, in my humble opinion, comes close to the elegance and the comfortableness of the act structure. Whether it's the 5-act structure of television, American television, or the usual 3-act structure of Western cinema. There's just the story, it's about story beats, and it's about build up, and it's about setup and payoff. And even this movie, as kind of dumb as it is, possesses all of those noble qualities and reliable qualities. And this is an enjoyable way to spend time. I had a good time watching this movie, and I hope you do too. And tune in tomorrow. We are doing tomorrow. We are ditching the bodices and candelabras and going into modernity. Tomorrow we are bringing Dracula into the 20th century, and in Dracula AD 1972. And we get 2 ingenues. We usually have 2 ingenues because you have the whole Lucy Mina thing. Or we call it the Virgin and the Madonna. I mean, the Madonna and the Whore, or the Madonna and the Magdalene, or the Slut and the Virgin. However you want to, I hope this doesn't trigger anyone. Just, hey, boys can be sluts too. Hey, I had my 20s. Hey, hey, well, live life. Be safe. That's, and that's that on that, huh? But remember, there's always something sexy to these vampire movies. It's an important component to them. And there's a lot to be said about, I think there's a theme of consent and a theme of seduction to these vampire movies. And that's part of what draws us to it, and what makes it escapism. Yeah, this is purely escapism and purely fun. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's the 31 Days of Halloween. We're watching a different horror movie every day this month of October, leading up to the 31st. Yes, Halloween. And one of my favorite all-time horror movies that is also culturally significant to me as well, in a way. And, we'll talk about it when we get there. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. Wear your garlic. Maybe even have a wooden stake by your door. Mr. Pointy, That's a Buffy reference. Take care. Good luck. Namaste. We will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.